What is up, Baggies fans, football fans, and sports fans, to a brand new video on the channel. Something a little bit different, something I'm going to be calling a what if series. I want your guys' comments to let me know how far you want me to take this series. If you've got any curveballs you want to throw, let's set a like target of 40 likes on this video. Leave a comment, as I said, let me know. Subscribe, we're well on our way to 500 subscribers now, thanks to you guys. Hit that bell notification to stay up to date with everything we're coming. I am going to the friendly game this Saturday, so I'm going to do a little bit of a test, see how you guys like it. So stay tuned for that one as well. And let's get into today's what if from our West Brom channel. And we're talking about the one season wonder striker, big Romelu Lukaku. What if he had stayed? What if the season after loan, he never got turned away? He made it to the Albion. He'd already phoned up the kit man. He was on his way back, and West Bromwich Albion pulled the club. That 2012-2013 loan spell, what if he had signed after that, made Hawthorns his home, and led us to a new era? Today, we're deep diving into an alternative timeline where Lukaku didn't go to Everton, didn't bounce around Europe, but stayed in the Black Country, became our new number 9. Strap in, because the story changes everything, from league finishes to transfer policies to how the world sees West Brom. And obviously, this is all my thoughts, so I'd love to know what you guys think as well. And let's get into it and rewind back to that 2012-2013 season. Steve Clarke is at the helm, the Baggies are flying high, and up front, an absolute wrecking ball of a striker on loan from Chelsea. Romelu Lukaku scored 17 Premier League goals that season. 17. Remember, he was just 19 years old at that point. That's more than Carlos Tevez, Dzeko, and Giroud did that season. And he wasn't even starting every game. He bullied defenders. He was electric in the air, rapid on the break, and ice cold in front of goal. And who can forget that hat trick against Man United on the final day? We drew 5-5 with Sir Alex Ferguson's last ever United side. Lukaku came off the bench in that game to tear him apart. This wasn't just talent, it was the arrival of a future class world striker. He was absolutely brilliant. One of my favourite goals, and I know it's going to be a silly one, was a Sunderland goal. I believe it was Titus Bramble passing it back towards his keeper, and he ran and ran and ran, and the keeper shot off his foot, and it went in. That right there, grit, determination, power. He was unstoppable. He made us look a threat going forward. And unfortunately, the sad reality is we didn't get him. Could we afford him? Who knows? Chelsea wanted 28 million at the time, and it might have been a fortune for us as a club then. Obviously, we'd had our highest position. We were a well-run club under PS, but very modest. Our transfer record was in the low millions. So Lukaku moved to Everton instead, and the rest is history. He became a 20-goal season striker, moved to Man United, Inter Milan, Chelsea, and then back to Serie A again. But just imagine if West Brom had pushed the boat out, got creative, brought in an outside investment, structured a deal, made him feel that the future was here. What if Lukaku wanted to stay? That is a big question. You see him on social media, liking Albion stuff, talking about Albion. What if he had stayed? So let's look at what the 2013-2014 season could have been. Now let's look at it. Instead of trying to replace Lukaku with Anelka, Vidra, or misfiring Victor and Ichibi, we keep our teenage powerhouse. Suddenly we've got goals, real goals, no relegation battle, no managerial crisis, no panic signings, no losing of the sponsor with Anelka doing that Quenelle gesture. That right there, Lukaku leading the line. I think we push towards potentially Europe that season with the team that we've got behind him. And what becomes more, he becomes the face of the club, a young, marketable, elite level talent in blue and white stripes. That changes how we're seen. Players want to come in, sponsors will start to notice, and we become a destination, not just a stepping stone. It would also have a massive knock on effect. Keeping Lukaku wouldn't have just brought goals, it would have reshaped our recruitment. We'd have been able to attract better players. We wouldn't have had to invest heavily in wages on Anelka or Anichebe and stuff like that. We could have brought other players in to strengthen other areas. Imagine a front three, a couple of years of Lukaku, Berahino before it went sideways, Odom Wingy, that would have been fantastic. The creative midfield, Morrison and Brunt passing and threading the balls through to him. Who else we could have brought in to help with that? That's not survival football. That's Europe chasing football. We could have attracted a younger, hungrier group of players who wanted to develop beside Romelu Lukaku. Players like Nasser Chadli might have even arrived sooner and stuck around. Lukaku would have been a magnet. And the financial growth, huge. Lukaku would have been worth 70, 80 million by 2016. If we'd have sold him later on our terms, Would it have transformed the club's finances? Would we have ever been sold to Gooch Online? Would Pierce, have kept hold and sold to a bigger investment? Would we have been bought out by a bigger company? Who knows? We could have built training grounds, upgraded the stadium, maybe even had a stable run in the Premier League for a lot longer. Remember, we were established then. We had the foundations. Lukaku staying might have elevated us to the next tier of clubs. The likes of Bournemouth are doing now, Brentford, Brighton. Who said we couldn't have done the same? But now we have to ask, could we have convinced him? Truth is, Lukaku loved his time here. We know he was on his way back to us. He phoned the kitman, he said, save his spot. He spoke well of the fans. He thrived here. But I don't think we matched his ambition and obviously didn't have the money. Maybe if we'd have shown real intent, backed Clark with serious funds, sold Lukaku a vision of European challenge in West Brom, it might have been enough. It wasn't impossible, but we played it safe. We stayed small time when Rom went big. As Lukaku now, his career's had up and downs. Title wins in Italy, frustrating return to Chelsea, and now back in Serie A. But at his peak, one of the best strikers out there. And he stayed truly, truly, truly to how he was being that powerhouse for Man United. Every time he scored against us, Everton, United, he never celebrated against us. He knew that we were the one to kickstart his career. And potentially, if it would have been an alternative reality, it would have been his career at the Albion. We were the launch pad for him, that ignition point. And it's fair to ask, what if we had built the rocket instead of watching it fly off? So what if Romelu Lukaku had stayed at West Brom? Maybe we'd have broken our transfer ceiling. Maybe we'd have cracked Europe. Maybe we would have written the entire trajectory of the club. Let me know in the comments, what do you think would have happened if Lukaku signed permanently? Would we be talking about West Brom in the same breath as Brighton, Bournemouth, Leicester today? Hit that like button if you enjoyed the first episode in this brand new What If series. As I say, let me know who you think. I've got episode 2 planned already, but I'm looking forward to seeing who you want to see and what you want to see. It couldn't even have to be a player, it could be anything to do with a manager, anything you want. Let me know, and I will get a script together for it. Subscribe for more Albion deep dives, nostalgic rewinds, and alternative unit massives. Thanks for watching. Up the Baggies.